We are now live on YouTube. So, how Rocketeers, bonjour. So, uh, I mean, I said bonjour because our today is the special deal, exclusive deal, and our BFCM special founders and all the companies from France. That's why I hope everyone is doing good and it's going great with all of you. So today's special is from Etienne, and the deal is Inrō, which all of you are loving. So Etienne, thank you so much for number one doing this and joining us today um, uh, to showcase Inrō and talking about your journey and how did you find yourself in this space of automation and why did you start at Inrō, stuff like that. So yeah, thank you so much for joining in. We are very grateful to have you here.
All right. Hello, everybody. Very nice to meet you. So my name is Etienne. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Inrō. We are a marketing automation tool for Instagram. Um, with my co-founder Pierre, we've been working together for the past 6 years, 7 years now. Before that, we co-founded a venture studio mostly in e-commerce and marketing tech. A lot of things that we did were in the luxury sector, working with Hermes or LVMH, and yeah, doing a lot of automation around clienteling, emailing, and kind of like investigating these new direct marketing channels. And that's where we come across of Instagram and saying, "Oh, I think there is potential there." And we started working on Inro. We actually started working on Inro a little over than a year. It was like end of summer 2023, so last year. Right after that, we actually were accelerated by UC Berkeley Skydeck. It's an accelerator, and they also have a venture fund associated with it. And so they invested in our company. So thank you guys for believing in us at the very early stage. We also have like a few prominent entrepreneurs that also believed in us and invested. And yeah, we've been building the product since then. Our first client was and is still a client was LVMH. So prominent luxury group in the world. And we recently also signed Kering, so still in the luxury sector. But as a matter of fact, we have a very wide variety of users coming from very small solo business, creator led type of brands to more prominent e commerce or coaching, training, beauty salons, very, very wide. Any type of business basically that use Instagram as their main acquisition channel. And before I just jump into Inro and the demo, maybe to tell you a little bit about the team. So now, at the moment, we are seven and very international team. Some people are. We have Shitij in India. We have Ahmed is Egyptian, is with us in France at the moment. We have Juliet, she's Italian. So kind of like bunch of very talented people, and we're so glad to have them with us, helping us progressing and launching the tool. So I'm now just trying to see how I can switch from one slide to another. Can you see my screen? Is it the second slide?
Yes, we can.
All right, cool.
Awesome.
So yeah, one of the question we get super often is like, why are you so focused on Instagram? Well, we're not closing the gate of expanding to other channel, but as a matter of fact, Instagram is probably the best place for you to be in if you are a business or a brand, because it's the only social media where you can people consume content, message their friend and family, but also message and interact with brand. In fact, we have 62% of Instagram users in their top three reason why they use the platform is to follow brands and inquire about product. So it's really a place where you can get discovered, but also where you can have a close relationship and in the same time don't feel intrusive, not having like this spammy type of message. And that was actually one of the things we wanted to do, is like how can we bring marketing, because brands and businesses needs to be able to do direct marketing, to interact directly with their prospect or client, but do this on a platform where they don't bother and they don't spam their customer, and kind of like the poor experience we all are getting, whether it's on email, WhatsApp, or SMS. So that was the idea, and that's why we picked Instagram. So basically, if Instagram is a focus for you, if it's yeah, the main platform, the main channel of acquisition, you should definitely consider Inrō, because it's basically optimize every step of your funnel. On awareness, what we've seen consistently across our 194 users, that's the number of active users we have um, as of today. What we're seeing is like when you implement automation, we see a spike in engagement, but also in terms of reach. And one of the side effects of having a direct relationship with your followers is that your own content is better featured in their feed, because you're favored by the algorithm. So all in all, using automation is actually increasing your awareness. Where is even more noticeable, it's on the acquisition aspect when you want to get new clients. And especially if you're doing ads, what we're seeing is like if you plug Inro into your ads and kind of like use the DM me call to action, get more message, generate leads type of objective in your ad campaign, we see a 30% increase in return on ad spend. In terms of activation, what we leverage is the quality of the channel, because Instagram is so strict in how you can DM people. Well, actually, it preserves the quality. People are genuinely opening their DM and enjoying looking at their DM. It's not a spam channel. And
mm,
because of that, we have a 90% open rate on any type of campaign that we run on customer or existing client. And because of all of these things, well, you send the right message with the right offer at the right person at the right time. So obviously, you're going to see an increase in conversion. And at the moment, on average, we see a click through rate at 28%. In terms of
wow.
comparison, if you look at email, it's between 1 and 3%. I mean, probably you're running like stellar campaign and maybe you get a 5% or 10%, but you're nowhere near a 30% click through rate.
Yep.
Um, so what can you do, or what our users are doing with Inro? Basically, they generate leads. So generate leads out of their organic content or out of their ads budget. So basically, you get the lead and then you nurture it in DM. And that's what you do with DM campaign. DM campaign is the ability to send DM to your segmented audience. So anyone that is a qualified contact that you have on Instagram in Inro, you can DM them and you can send them sequence, and very rich sequence with logic. We're gonna see this in the demo, but you can push things pretty far and have something that is very interactive and super engaging. And the last part is workflow integration. So basically, the ability to integrate Instagram in whatever system that you're using. I'm just gonna give you an example to make it like more
Yep.
concrete. Let's assume you're, I don't know, a mobile app. You want to do viral marketing, and you want to say, okay, I'm a mobile game, and I'm gonna give you points in my app if you're mentioning me in story. Well, with
Mm,
Inro, what you can do is know when people are mentioning you in story and map this with your user, and make sure that every time someone is mentioning you in story, it actually increase the number of points you
mm,
award them in your app. And you can do this without a single line of code. And yeah, maybe one last thing, and I promise then we look into the product in itself. It's something that is really important to keep in mind. So we are a meta tech provider, which means that we go through an audit from Meta that also grant us access to special API and allows us to do what we do without the limit that Instagram is imposing to everyone else. However, it also means that we have to strictly obey the Instagram community rules. But
Mm,
it's for the better because it preserves the quality of the channel and it makes it so powerful in terms of open rate, in terms of engagement. But what
yep,
it means is that basically you cannot DM whoever you want. You cannot DM all your followers. You cannot DM all the people on a given hashtag. This is not the type of tool Inrō is. What you can do is engage with people that has shown some level of interest in you. So whether they interacted with your ads, they interacted with your organic content, or they interacted with content that is mentioning you. And the last part is onboarding, and it's especially like a upcoming features that is already existing in beta, is that you can have a HTML widget that you can put in your email, on your website, on your mobile app, wherever you want. And basically, when you do this, it will ask people to click on a button. And when they click on this, then you get the right to send them a DM. So it's another source of leads. But if you want to test it out, you can go on our, I mean, scan the code on your phone, chat with us. You get a sense of the demo. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram as well. But yeah, let's switch to the live demo.
awesome. That was amazing introduction.
All
And
right.
yeah, I think it's not a cold outreach Instagram DM because that's a direct violation of Instagram's and Meta's terms.
Mm-hmm.
What you would use Intro for is engaging your existing audience, and that's powerful because you cannot do it manually, each and every
Yeah.
one. So you require, and you don't have to break the rules otherwise. So and that's the main question with everyone. Hey, am I going? Is my account safe? I mean, your account is safe because you're following the rules, right? Uh,
Yeah, definitely. And actually, there is one way to kind of bend the rules, so stick
yep,
in the truth and still be able to use Inro, especially if you want to do outreach.
yep.
We have some users that are doing this. So the way you do that is basically you do the initial message, you do it manually on Instagram the way you would do it. So you would probably have a limit between 20 and 50 DM per day. Otherwise you're going to have like a cool down effect on your inbox. But where Inro plays a role is to categorize all of these leads that you're prospecting, but also triggering an automated follow-up sequence. So there's still some ways to kind of automate part of your manual outreach. Um, but yeah, you're right, Karen. It's always better to follow the rules because you protect your account and you make sure that you can grow safe and sound. But yeah, so now we're actually looking at Inro account on Inro. So this is our Inro Instagram account with our own Inro account. And so this is the contact tab. So we have dashboard, inbox, campaign, contact, automation. I'm not gonna go through all of these, but I wanted to show you contact because it's basically a CRM view. You have all of your qualified contacts, and here you have status. So status is basically okay. So I DM that person, but it's still pending. So it means like I interacted with that person, but this person haven't responded yet. The same thing, we have people. Okay, we are in their requests, so you have this information, and you can filter based on that because here you have different type of filters, so you can filter all of your audience and segment them the way you want. So you can segment them based on engagement, the type of engagement, past transaction you had with them, automation that were triggered, so previous campaign you run, or sometimes, especially if you're running a CRM, like information you want to collect. So give me all the people that I don't have the email. So for instance, like, okay, so he's not present. And so it gives me all of the people that I don't have their email. And so, for instance, here I can create the segment. So let's do something that is more meaningful than email. For instance, like, give me anyone that interacted with my account that has more than 1,000 followers. Could be 10,000, wherever you want. That is a way for you to identify in people that are already engaging with your content, who are the people that has a potential of being influencers for you, kind of micro influencers. And if you
mm,
want, you can send them a campaign. Sending a campaign, you basically choose to whom you want to send the campaign. So for instance, anyone that is in my segment, could be on specific folders, but because you categorize, you can also exclude some of those folders, and then you're going to build the sequence you want to send. In a sequence, you gonna have like either simple messages, could be text, it could be photo, video, could be audio, it could be your own content if you want to reshare some of your content. I don't know. um, you have someone that is like asking you about your product, and you say, yeah, my product is so awesome, check this reel that I did with this prominent influencers, whatever. If you want to make it super personal, audio message works super well. It's super
mm,
engaging. People really feel like you've taken the time to, you care about them, just because you humanize and embody your brand by doing so. But you
yep,
can also have a more kind of advanced type of interaction, which is like asking questions, sending surveys, collecting information, sending them a link that is tracked, requesting payment. We have also other integration with Calendly, for instance, so on and so forth. And then you can add logic. So the logic is kind of like, okay, I want to have a condition. I want to pursue this. For instance, I can do a campaign and say, to all of the people that are not following me, I'm going to say follow me, and then I'm going to add a filter. And in this filter, I say, okay, I want to only follow if the person is following me. So I'm going to do a follow
mm,
up. Okay, the person is following me, so I'm gonna say thank you for following me. And um and here I'm gonna say, okay, how come you're not following me? um and and Basically it's like very mundane example, but it shows how a logical interaction will actually create a branching, and
yep,
then you can have like sub branching based on other type of logic, whether it's a time delay, the fact that someone clicked on the link. I'm not gonna dive into too many details, um,
mm,
but this is one of the thing around campaign. So that's the contact. We've seen how it looks when you want to send a campaign. Now, maybe let's take a look at automation. Automation is basically how you're going to build your contact list. Because here we have 863 contacts. That's great, but I want to have more contact. And to do so, what I want to do is like use all of the opportunity I have in terms of engagement. So people commenting on that post, people mentioning me in story, people reacting to my ads. And so every time there is this that happens, to make sure I secure that lead, I'm going to put in place an automation where, I don't know, for instance, let's build a empty scenario. So it's just, um, we're going to have different triggers, but let's assume we have someone that is commenting on my post. So could be any post, could be specific post. It could be also post with a keyword in the caption. This is super powerful in the sense that you only have to build once your automation, and then
Hmm.
when you post your content, you just have to use a keyword in your caption, and it's gonna trigger that scenario. And then you can, if you want, add a filter. So like a kind of a condition saying, okay, only if the DM or the comment contain a specific keyword. So that would be one way to build an automation on comments. And you know the typical comment link, if you want to receive your link in DM, that's basically one thing you can build here, but you can make it more refined, more subtle, because you have this added layer of filters and triggers. What I wanted to show you here is both the different triggers you're going to do, but also this idea of, okay, on comments, what I want to do is probably reply in comments uh, and
Hmm.
say, hey, how are you? No, not how are you, but hey, thank you for the comment. And then I'm gonna double it down with a DM and say, um, it means a lot your support. Don't hesitate to check my link, and then I'm gonna send them the link. And so I don't know, like for instance, my
And these are
mm,
conversion links, right? I mean, which you can set up before creating your campaigns as well,
yeah, exactly. You can
right?
create them on the go, or you can
Yeah,
create them before. And
got it.
so
Yeah.
here, for instance, I said, okay, let's book a call, and same branching if they click or if they don't click. If you use Calendly, actually you
Hmm.
can have like a feedback loop. So it means that you only have the condition if people are actually booked a call with you, and you can send them a confirmation DM on Instagram. So that's one of the perks of Inrō with the Calendly integration. And yeah, so that's one of the type of automation you could build on comments. One other thing that I wanted to browse with you is the different triggers. So there is someone that is sending you DM, you sending a DM. So for instance, we were talking about automating your manual outreach. That's how you
Hmm.
do it. It's because you're sending a DM, and it's going to trigger an automated sequence afterwards. Could be on stories, so on and so forth. People mentioning you. It could also mentioning you in a post, so in a caption. Especially if you work with influencers, you could set up automation on their own content. Um, then we have also comments on live. This is actually super useful because live can attract a lot of people outside of your followers.
Hmm.
And on these lives, comments get lost. You
Yeah.
have people that are interacting with you, and then like they disappear. With putting in place an automation, you make sure to send them a DM and say, hey, let's catch up after the live,
Hmm.
or and so you
That's
secure the
nice.
lead. There is we've seen some of users that are using this to gamify their live. So for instance, they're
Oh.
gonna say, um, send me or comment with that emoji and you will receive that. And so you have
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
this kind of live interaction on automation that is super cool to do, and also boost significantly their engagement during the live. And maybe
Yep.
the one thing that I wanted to show is a waybook is called
Hmm.
on so we have as a trigger, and also as one of the element here we have the http request. So
Hmm.
these allows you to actually integrate with whatever tool you want. So if you have a given webhook that is triggered by a distant system, whether it's a crm, your own database, it can trigger an automation in Inrō. And same thing, you can use that to push your data or get data from an external source of data, whether it's again your CRM or your own backend. Speaking of integration, maybe one of the last thing that I wanted to show you, or one more thing that I wanted to show you, is the upcoming features. We just released this today, and we have other features coming up in the coming days and weeks. So right now you can find here your private API. So if you want to integrate Inrō with other system, again, you can use this. Same thing, you can connect with your Make account. So in a couple of weeks, we're gonna be featured in the in Make integration store. But at the
Mm.
moment, we already have a Make integration. So it means that you can natively build integration in Make using Inrō. So it means using data from Instagram to trigger something else outside of Instagram.
Got it.
And the last part is Calendly. I already mentioned this. So to have the full benefit of the Calendly integration, you need to have a Calendly Pro account. But if you do, you can have notification in DM. You can have confirmation of the meeting directly in Inrō, so you can adapt your scenarios and automated sequence based on that. Um,
Mm.
I don't want to bury you under too much information, but as you can see, the tool can do a lot.
Okay.
And maybe a couple of things that might be of interest, and maybe Karen, tell me
Mm-hmm.
what people want to see, whether it's the inbox, how you can navigate through your folders, like, okay, these are the brands we're
Yep.
prospecting, or is it more of a how can I send payment?
Yeah,
I don't.
definitely. We should cover the payments aspect, and we should cover more of course, the campaigns and automations. Like let's say showing people more scenarios of
Mhm.
possibility with the automation and campaigns. That's what they want to see. And of
Yep.
course, and after that, we can discuss what's the add-on with the AI agent, right? What's the case with the AI agent, and
Yep.
how we have set it up in the backend for business and business plus members. So yeah, we can then take it from there. And we have certain
Yep.
questions if you want to take it up, and then you want to jump to that section.
All right, definitely. So yeah, to talk about payments, on our
Yep.
account, we're not using payments. So I haven't set it up, but basically, what you can do, you can create. You have like a dedicated onboarding. It's going to create a Stripe Connect account associated
Mm.
with this Inro account. You can also connect your own Stripe account if you want, and it allows you to ask for payment. So, for instance, in a campaign, in an automation, or an inbox, if I'm going back to the automation in empty scenario, all right, all right. So, what I can do with a payment link is I'm gonna input a an amount and set up
Mm-hmm.
this amount, and then so for instance, the way people are using this is, for instance, I'm doing a content advocating for my coaching session, or my super training, like a lot of information that I want to share with you. And if you want to buy it, you just have to comment. You comment on this, you receive a DM. In this DM, it says, okay, if you want to receive the link, you pay this. And I don't know, like
Got.
50 euros, 100 euros,
Mm.
2000, you name it, you pick the amount. And then, based on once the payment is confirmed, you still have the branching the same way. And so you can send them the link to your content that you want to sell. So it's one way for you to easily sell directly on Instagram. So that's on payment. You can also use it for fundraising or other type of use, and more in terms of campaign, kind of like, do you want to give us some money? And you send this to all of your contacts. Um, Maybe if we dive more into some other scenarios that we can build. Um, I'm wondering if I should stay here or share some of the use case that I have in the
Yeah.
slide so we can see and we
Yeah.
can do back and forth between the two.
Correct.
Maybe one of the thing that could be useful for everybody is mentioning the AI features
Yeah. Correct.
that are currently in beta. Maybe
Correct.
you've seen when I was typing comment, for instance, when I said like reply to a comment, you see this, it's rewrite comment automatically. The way it
Mm,
works, it's basically it keeps the meaning of your comment and it automatically rewrite it. The
exactly.
idea is like you don't want to come across as too automated on Instagram, especially if you're replying in public in comments. So that's what this feature is for, and it's AI powered. That's one of the example. The other type of example that I unfortunately cannot demonstrate today because we're still working on that feature is custom intent. So
Mm,
basically, when we have a scenario condition, we can have a custom intent that is uh, either, for instance, negative or hate speech filter to avoid to
mm,
respond
mm,
to haters. We have other things that is how you qualify lead. And so you give us a prompt and we have the ability to say, okay, is that profile in your targets or not? And based on that, you can embed this in your automation. So that's our vision of how we want to develop our future features in terms of AI is like how AI is not here to replace you or replace your automated sequence, because actually automated sequence works well when you want to drive conversion and works
mm,
much better than an chat gpt, for instance. Chat gpt is good to for chat, but if you want to drive conversion, if you want to have a call to action, you need to nudge them down. However, AI is useful to filter out the noise, filter out the bad leads, or filter out the bad content, and probably also rewrite the thing you're sending to them. So that's one of the element. The other element that we have is the AI agent. So the AI agent, the way it works is you basically have your training data that you can update live. We do RAG based on this data. It could be more extensive as well. But basically, you can put in lifetime, in real time, your latest information. So I don't know. Right now, we're running a lifetime deal. So
yeah.
maybe I should say we are running. So sorry, instead of we, Inrō is running a lifetime deal on Rocket at the moment. You should check it out. So that's one of the information and giving this. And so one of the thing I'm going to do is like, for instance, say, okay, I'm gonna try this. It's live, so I don't know if it's gonna work, but are you running any type of deal? So here I'm like kind of like it's an easy one because I'm kind of reusing the same word. So obviously he found the answer, but like if I ask something else or ask it in French, for instance, say, um, and sorry,
It's even liking your message.
yeah, it's um And so it replies in the language that is detected automatically. And for instance here,
Wow.
I use a different phrasing, and it say, yeah, right now Inro is offering an unlimited deal on RocketHub. So kind of like translated this idea of lifetime deal. And then they say, oh,
Mm,
you should check it out and benefit from this awesome deal. So it's basically what it says in French.
mhm.
So you can use that, obviously, in terms
Wow.
of handling all the frequently asked questions. And the way it works, and that's the beauty of this, is that how can I make sure that my AI is not intervening when I have automation that is running, or when
Mm,
me as a human, I want to respond to this. So the way it works is that it only reply if it has the answer. If it doesn't have the answer, then it is automatically tagged in a folder that say to reply. You can even like ask them to send you an email like, I cannot answer this, there is someone that needs help on this. Or you can
mm,
send a default message. But also there is like some sort of delay. So the way the AI work, it's only kicking in if no automation, no human has provided an answer, and
yep.
only if based on the data provided, they have the answer. And then you can like customize the tone of voice. You have like additional options. These things we're still working on it, but it's going to be released very soon. As you can see, it's already working in beta.
Yep.
Um, yeah, that's about it in terms of AI for the features that we have at the moment.
Got it. Awesome. So let's do one thing before we begin the use cases, which people can use Inrō for. Let's shoot down some questions, and I
Mhm.
think these are interesting questions. And people just who are watching in and who watch later, please put your questions over here, or whatever questions you have anywhere. Just put it in our Facebook group or over here, and you're answering them live. So one question from Voda is this: is there a way to embed lead form in the funnel? And if we can connect intro to CRM like go high level.
Embed lead form in the funnel. Yes, totally. You can totally do that. And let me demonstrate how you would do this. So basically, in a scenario, um, let's assume someone is replying to an ad. Usually like ad is a good uh, good use case for this. Someone is replying to your ad, and then you trigger a scenario. So lead form. So you can either use one of the form you already use one, or you can create one. So here I'm gonna ask for several questions. And so I'm gonna build a form and just add question. And so it's like, for instance, name, and then I can do several things. The several things that I can do is like pick what it is about. So the same way you would do with a form builder. And what is interesting is that you can update the property in Inrō CRM. Those property can be synced with some other CRM by using the webhook and HTTP request that I demonstrated early on. But what you could do, for instance, here is say, okay, name, and then I'm gonna ask for email, and I'm gonna say that field is an email, phone number, whatever, whatever. But here I'm
Mm,
gonna say save this in email. Then I have this survey, I can test it out. So as you can see, across the platform, you would see whether it's in campaign, automation, survey, links, you can always test it. So you have this type of box, and then you can search for a contact. So you can type your own Instagram account, for instance, and send it to you so you see how it looks before you send it to everybody. And so sorry, yes. And so coming back to contact, what you're going to have, it's going to be saved here. And here you can manage the properties, and I can create new properties either because I created it from a survey, or I'm creating them in my CRM. And again, those can be synced with an external CRM. That means that if I collect an email, it can be reflected in another database. But the same way, if you have an Inrō ID that is in another database and you have other data that you want to push in Inrō, you can do it the same way on Reverse. I hope it answered the question.
Hmm. Yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, because this is what the use case was, that one of my client is running ads to the website landing page, which is a booking form. Can Inro do a funnel and replace that? I think that's what it can do, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yep.
kind of what
Mm.
I demonstrated is that
Yep.
instead of when you do ads, instead of like redirecting them to a landing page, where
Yep.
if the person is not filling out the form, then it's just lost. And the only thing you can do is pay again Meta to do retargeting and push the same ad again to the same person. What you can do with Inro, and that's the beauty of it, is that you have that ad, and instead of redirecting, what they do is like, oh, I want to know more, or I want to get quote, or I want to something. You click on this, it's gonna spawn a conversation with the brand, and from that, since the person DM'd you, then you have the ability to send them DM to nurture them, even though they're not filling up the form. So you can send them the form, and if they haven't filled out the form, you can send them, I don't know, additional content. For instance, we have a kitchen designer that is using us for this. They
Hmm.
run ad, then they redirect to the initial form and a booking appointment with a sales rep. If the person is not booking with a sales rep or not leaving um, their info, what they're pushing is for a the catalog of their product, and they say,
Hmm.
oh, you can look into the product, but you have to leave your email. And if they don't want, then they push for a 3D environment where people can like build their own kitchen. So they have like a much in-depth funnel that literally costs nothing. That's also the beauty, is like you capture the lead and then you nurture them on autopilot for literally no cost at all. So you only pay once to acquire them, and then you convert them. So that's how we manage to have a 30% increase on return on ad spend on average.
That's nice. That's nice. Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, because many people who have agencies, because agencies are primarily going to use this. Yeah,
Mhm.
if there's someone is buying the business plus plan, so they would of course think of many other type of clients they can use Indra for. And how many accounts they have based on the plan they use. So there will be different use cases. So yeah, this fits that. Thanks for this. Okay. Next is can I use comment trigger on dark post?
I don't know what a dark post is. Do you mean like a post that is not in your feed?
Might
And
be, might be a.
yeah, so for instance, like for instance, a reel that you're not pushing in your post or this kind of thing. Yeah, totally. Like any type of content you're running, any type of ads you're running, you can implement automation on this.
Got it. Yeah, makes sense. Awesome. Cool. Let's next go to the next question from Rizwan. Does using Inro affect IG rankings? I have used several other automation tools and auto posting tools before, and every time I use these tools, IG tanks my organic reach.
Okay, so we kind of like notice the opposite, to be honest. We have like actually one of the users from the lifetime deal that sent us like a testimonial. I was like, wow, that's crazy. I'm just trying to find it, who he
Yeah,
was.
yeah, sure.
I think it's Kidnestger, is in Greece,
Yep.
and so you typically had an engagement of like 50 comments, and at the moment, like and in terms of reach or average likes, it was around like 1,000, 2,000 in terms of likes and reach. uh now he used Inrō once, and on his latest post, he had 1,150 comments, 5,951 likes. Like I was like stunned by the results. So it's actually kind of the opposite. I don't know if it's because we are a MetaTech approved tool, but
Yeah,
also I guess it depends on how you're using those automation. If you use it to spam people, even if you cannot literally spam people, but if you overuse it, over send DM to the same people, even if they like you, maybe Instagram will penalize you. But it's more of like how you're using the tool than the tool in itself. Because right now, what we're seeing is more of like increase in reach, increase in engagement among
yep,
our users.
yep, yep. Yeah, that's what I told, right? If you remember, that's what I told everyone. It depends on how you use it, right? Let's say even if you are sending a message, direct message, and you're including words which it doesn't make sense for Instagram's community guidelines, then you're very much natural to get banned, irrespective of whichever tool you're using. Even if you're like using manually DMing people, and if they report you, then you're gone, right? So you have to be very cautious as to how you're using the tool. Tool is safe. Tool keeps you safe, but you have to keep yourself safe from yourself. That's important as well.
But we also put in place a lot of things to protect that, and so to avoid like any wrongdoing by mistake.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
for instance, we in campaign there's like you can take a box to ensure that you're not mistakenly DMing someone you already DM in the last 72 hours. So we have like a lot of um kind of like safety measures to avoid this. The same thing with the status. The status is here to avoid sending DM to people that are still pending or still in request, to avoid
correct.
like to be treated as spam. So we put in place a lot of things to ensure that you can use Inro super safely and
Yeah,
really grow on Instagram.
correct. Makes sense. All right, amazing. Let's get to the question from Seven Raider. AI agent, how does this feature work? Yes, I think we already went through this. Went through the work overview, and I think if you have seen through it, you might have seen what it does. And now the question about is this feature included in the deal on RocketHub? Yeah, Etienne, you can answer that question. Go on.
Yeah, so it's included in the sense that there is a special price on a monthly add-on. So
Yeah,
in tier two, you pay $19 per month for the AI features, and in tier three, you pay $9 per month for the AI features. At the moment, the AI features are still in beta. They're going to be
yeah,
released in the coming weeks, and
yep,
so what we will offer is basically you already have the AI agent that appears, but you also have like a few AI features popping up in campaign or automation. You can play with it. It's just that when you're gonna wanna run a campaign, including AI, or activate your AI agent, then it will add request an add-on to your lifetime deal.
right. Makes sense. Yep, it's not. It's yeah. It's we just answered the question. Yes, awesome. Thanks. Yeah, this was about I think the question on CRM. Yes. Yes, correct. Okay, this was about what you explained. An ad post that, yeah, this is about the dark post question.
Yeah, yeah, you can do that.
Got it, makes sense. All right, there's one more question and then we go to the use case. Can I set one of the team member to only able to access a particular account or even a particular campaign?
So not at the moment. So what you can do right now is here you have your organization members. You can add users if you want. They will receive an email and have the ability to log into your Inro account. Um, that part allows you to kind of like protect your Instagram account in the sense that you don't have to give your Instagram credentials for people to have access to Inro. However, we haven't put in place a kind of role.
Assigning the roles. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't assigned roles. This is in the roadmap, not in the coming weeks, to be honest, because in terms of architecture is quite heavy.
Hmm.
But in the coming month for sure, that will allow you, for instance, to give them access only reading rights or only building automation or sequence, and do not have access to the inbox or the DMs, that sort of things, where you can like customize the roles. um, but it's a roadmap in itself. Like all the roles and all the features around roles are pretty um, extensive.
Makes sense. Got it. Okay. Yep. One second. This was covered. Yeah. Yeah, that's fair. No problem with the $9. Awesome. Cool. So yeah, that's amazing. Now, Etienne, let's get to the use cases of, for let's say the agency owners of people who are going for the business and business plus plans, or even the creators. What use cases have you seen, or you think about using Inrō,
Yeah.
according to you?
So basically, in terms of, so it's not use cases. It was more of like case studies, but like it will
Yeah.
answer your question. So, for instance, in terms of ads, I mentioned this. What I've noticed for ads, what works the best is running ads where there is a reason to inquire about. So if basically you run ads and the fastest way is just to go and buy the product, don't use Inrō. Like you're kind of like adding friction to the funnel. So it's not going to improve your stats. However, if you, in that case, they wanted to give a sense of exclusivity with private sales. And so they run ads, and to know where the sale were happening, you needed to DM them. So it's also a way to engage more people. For them, it was a way to target new audience, because it's a dead stock fabric, luxury fabric, run by LVMH. And so they're primarily B2B. So even though they're quite big on Instagram, I mean, quite big for B2B business, they wanted to expand to a more of like prosumer, or like young fashion creators, design students. And they were like, okay, let's run ads to do that. But we not only want them to come to the private sales, what we want is to get their contact. And so the way they run this is like, okay, we have this sale that is coming up. You don't know where is it. And so a lot of people were super curious about this, and because they have amazing fabrics and leather. So any students were like super keen on knowing more about this. And so
Yep.
I think the key learning from that is like, if you run ads, do this because either your business in itself is a lead generation type of business. So typically, I was mentioning the kitchen designer, or I don't know, premium rug, or like those type of thing where you want to get quote, or you want to speak with a sales rep. If you have a longer consideration cycle, where you typically collect the lead and speak to a sales rep, then it makes sense to collect the leads with Inrō and nurture it through DM. So you have the ability to engage with that lead even though you
Hmm.
haven't closed them yet.
Okay.
The other thing for e-commerce, if you're doing drops, so for instance, upcoming drops, something exclusive, this type of things, that works well. So one thing on advertising, yeah, don't use Inro to run Black Friday type of deal of like buy in the instant. You're much better off not using our tool. I'm not doing my marketing by doing this, but like the proper use of doing of using Inro is to run ads for something that require inquiries. Um,
Hmm.
Another thing that I thought would be interesting is booking. So, for instance, we have it's not a large tattoo convention, but kind of big in Paris and Brussels and other cities in Europe. But the way they work is like they need to do bookings and appointments for the artists that they host in the during the convention. And so they don't have a
Hmm.
lot of artists, and this use case can actually easily transition to a beauty salon, or
Hmm.
or even like I don't know, an agency working with freelancers or different things you want to book. And so the way it works is people that want to book an appointment, whether it's coming from organic or coming from a DM, people
Yeah.
reacting to something. And then you're going to ask them, okay, what do you want? What are you the most interested in? And based on that, you redirect them to different calendars and different appointments so they can book directly um, with the right artist. And the great thing with Tattoo Village is that they're also using us for payment. So, and the
Oh,
way they're using payment
nice.
is more for deposits to avoid last minute cancellation. So you kind of like, okay, you pay just part of your tattoo, and so I make sure that you're gonna show up on the day of the convention.
Hmm. Makes
Um,
sense.
And let me check what I have in stock. Oh yeah, so this one is still about advertising. Um, the reason why I wanted to show advertising is because because I cannot demonstrate it in Inrō, so it
Hmm.
makes a lot of sense. That's the type of ads you can run. So for instance, like story positioning, where you have this type of call to action, get quote, and when people are clicking on this, it actually pops up a um, a kind of like a contextual menu with, for instance, like, oh, I want to get quote, and then you click on this and it populate a DM such as this one, and then it triggers the sequence. So in that case, it's get quote, and we say, okay, first we need some information, and then we say, okay, do you want to have a meeting with the person, and we sync all of this data with external CRM. Yeah, that's another way to run ads. Sorry, it's very ads focused, and there's so many other things we can run with. Maybe other things that I can mention is what we call bite-size DM newsletter. We're seeing
Hmm.
this more and more, either from content creator
Hmm.
or from brands that want to nurture their relationship with their customer. And what they do is they say it's kind of like the improved version or the more personalized or the more exclusive of the broadcast that you have on
Yeah.
Instagram.
Makes
Broadcast,
sense.
it's everybody, and it's only one direction.
Hmm.
Here, what you can have is that you can have DM that are personalized. You can even use variable and say, hey, Karen, how are
Hmm.
you on this week? I have like this new content that I thought you'd be super interested in. And so make it more personal, have it like a small audio. So kind of like very close type of relationship. And it works well also for brands that are doing drops. So kind of like
Hmm.
um, kind of building the momentum ahead of a launch is a perfect way to use DM. So don't overuse it. Like, for instance, don't every time you do a reel just to increase your reach, you're sending it in DM to all of your contact. This is
That
a
had to be
bad way
spam.
of using
Yeah.
it. That's a good way to not be
Get your
banned,
Instagram account banned.
but like
I've
to
been
hurt
reported.
your ranking by Instagram. But on
Yeah.
the other end, if you make it more engaging, you can have something that is truly more personalized and bring you closer to your community.
I would say I get more surveys and engagement, and then let's say if there is a special offer you're running, only then send something so that they would click it and and go actually buy, and not
Yeah,
just be be like troubled from the DM, right?
yeah, and you can basically in the features you have two type of questions or two type of surveys. You have the first one, which is question, and the way it's gonna work is that it's a simple question that you ask, and the way the option gonna appear on Instagram is close to the text message that you have at the bottom of your phone, where you're gonna click on the answer you want. So very chatbot like. So you have this option, and the other option is more of a card where you select the option that you want. It's more of like a button. You can use both, and depending on the type of interaction you go for. So if you want to make it like very conversational, you can go for more like chatbot. If you're more in terms of like, I want a call to action, it's better to have a button. So, but you can actually
Mm,
use both in Inro.
got it. Makes sense. And how many brands are actually using Inrō right now?
So, as I was saying, like as of today, we have 194 active users.
Mm,
So yeah, I mean, all of them are not necessarily brands per se, because it goes from like a one person business to large business.
got it.
But yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's cool. Yeah, and that's great. And I mean, this question is again, people would like to know, are you going to raise further rounds of funding in the future? What's your plan for that?
So right now we have money. So right now
Yeah,
we're good.
we are
So we're
rich.
not, we're not rich or not yet, but thanks to RocketHub and this amazing deal, we're gonna have like money to celebrate Christmas. But no, joke aside, guys, we are okay in terms of runway, and also we're getting a ton of traction. So right now we're growing. We actually want to raise money by the end of 2025,
That's
but
amazing.
more in the idea of like accelerating our development and kind of like having a stronger team and yeah, faster pace of delivering features. So for you guys, it means more value in your lifetime deal.
Mm,
And yeah, so but basically we already have like a small team that is works super well. As you can see, like the product you've seen, we shipped that in a year. And at first it was only Pierre and I, so we were two, and like we managed to ship that, and we have a lot of features coming in the next weeks and months.
that's awesome. All right, amazing. Let's take one more question. And folks, keep putting your questions in. Is this only for professional account types, or it can also work for personal Instagram?
No, it does not work for personal IG account. It only works for business or creators account.
Yep,
Also, one other thing is that you need to have a Facebook page that is linked with your Instagram page. It's pretty
yep,
easy if you don't have one. When you go to create your account on Inro, you will have a tutorial to help you do that. But any tools, the way the official API of Meta works is like everything is centralized via Facebook. Same thing for their Meta Ads Manager. So if you're running ads, you're probably being exposed of, okay, I need to have some sort of Facebook presence for this. But it doesn't need to be an active page. It just need to exist and be connected to your Instagram professional account.
got it. Nice. Cool. That's a good walkthrough of the tool, good use cases, good questions. And I'll go through like quickly a few questions which we had from the community, right? Some people who asked certain questions. And number one was from Dan. He's a fan. Is the front end fully translatable, editable for non-English clients? How do you feel about the translations and languages inside Inro?
So at the moment, in terms of UI, the
Yeah,
UI is either available in English or in French. We're gonna localize the tool going forward, but not anytime soon. To be honest, like we're not
got
gonna
it.
localize in the coming months. So I'm not gonna like overpromise and under deliver on that aspect.
Yep.
However, what we're seeing is that we have users across the globe that are using us in various languages, because since you're building your own automation, you're building your campaign, you're the one writing it. um, it's like Instagram at the beginning. Instagram at the
Yep.
beginning was all in English, but you could still publish content in whatever language you
Correct.
wanted.
Yep.
Here it's the same thing, and the AI agent also works in multiple language. So on that end, there's like no present issue on our end to localize and make it available in various language. So we're
Makes
gonna
sense.
stick to English for the coming month, and probably consider this if we have a ton of demand and a big potential in specific countries.
A lot of Spanish and Italian people coming in and knocking. Oh yeah, I want this. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, I mean, Shopify integration is coming in, and I think you also had few people talk about WooCommerce. So, what do you
Mhm.
think about WooCommerce? Because that's also a very big section of the e-commerce world.
So we definitely look into WooCommerce and any other e-commerce platform, because we know our users are using those. Um,
Yep.
we know well Shopify, so we started using Shopify because we
Yep.
developed app
Hmm.
in the Shopify ecosystem in the
Makes
past
sense.
when we had our venture studio. So
Got it.
yes, at first we're gonna have probably in this kind of like a secret roadmap, but I can share it with you because it's not like we were on YouTube or anything. But what we have is that we gotta integrate the HTML widget that I was mentioning.
Hmm.
So we're gonna make it
Ve-
available in post checkout in Shopify, and do like build those type of integration. The
Got
other
it.
type of integration that we're considering, both on Shopify and other CMS or e-commerce platform, are the um, instant checkout and handling the stock, and
Hmm.
also having some kind of like, we already have the instant checkout. The only issue we have with the instant checkout is sizing, colors, all the variation that you have. And how can you in Instagram kind of like pick the right size, the right color, and then click on buy, and you have the instant checkout. So these are the type of integration we're thinking of. But the first two ones that we're gonna ship
Yeah.
is making this Instagram connection available on your e-commerce platform. So
Hmm.
any of your new client can become an activated contact in Instagram. So you could do your client relationship and have your Instagram audience segmented, saying like, okay, give me all of my clients from the last 3 months. I want to send them a DM campaign. So we're gonna do this. And the second thing is handling the stock to make sure that when you do yeah, buying directly in DM, that it's reflected in your WooCommerce or Shopify, because we're not gonna handle the stock. We just wanted this to be reflected in your own platform. So yes, we're considering this. Lot to do in so many other features. So don't expect WooCommerce to be integrated like in the coming months. Definitely not. But this is something we're looking at very closely.
Got it. Yeah, I think this will open up the new markets for you, new users for you automatically. But of course, the thing is, WooCommerce is very dynamic. It's not like Shopify, which streamline operations. It has a lot of plugins, add-ons, stuff. Which because we launched a deal recently called Drop Commerce, which
Mhm.
is a Shopify drop shipping integration,
Okay.
right? So and they also are on Shopify first. And the moment they launched, they got a lot of requests for WooCommerce. So WooCommerce was planned for next year, December. They moved it to March of 2023, 5, sorry. Why? Because WooCommerce was required. But they told it's very tough to build the WooCommerce integration because it's very dynamic in nature, right? Yeah, and you're talking about the HTML widget verify on Instagram. That's something. How can you explain that? Because a lot of people were interested in to know about that. It's
Yeah, so the way it works is basically it's line of codes, HTML code that,
yeah,
in terms of like for the end user, how it looks like, it's a button that you can fully customize. And
yep,
in this button, if people click on it, it will redirect them to a tracked, pre-populated conversation
yeah,
with your own Instagram account. So
like,
meaning, for instance, we already have users using it. Actually, Yo-Yo Match, which is a
mm-hmm,
matching slash dating app based in France, she is using this in her onboarding. So the way it works is that, um, when you do the onboarding, at some point you have, okay, verify your account on Instagram. You click on this, it opens a conversation, and the link is actually, um, giving us the ID of the of her database that we store in Inrō, and then we can associate the Inrō ID and
mm,
uh, database ID. And so by verifying, then we activate the DM channel, but also
okay,
we make it available in our own system. I'm
okay,
sorry, super complex. So if I like dumb it
that's fine.
down, basically the button you can
I
put
get.
in
I
email.
ask AI to dumb it down.
Basically, it's a button you can put in your email, mobile app, or even your own website. And when people are clicking on it, it's opening a conversation with you on Instagram. But what Inro is doing is that we're tracking everything. So we can map the user, where they're coming from, how they were logged in
Ah,
with
okay,
their
it's nice.
Instagram own profile. And so then,
Okay.
even if they change their Instagram handle, we still have this ID linked to your user ID.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That happens, right? I mean, if you see that many people who have Instagram embedded on the websites and then they change their username.
Mhm.
So if they click on that, it shows the username is not available right now. Sorry,
Yeah,
the user cannot be found. So you meant that if you have that widget embedded, it will still go to that new user. If they've changed the username, they would still redirect to that username's
yeah,
DM.
exactly. The
Okay.
username can change the handle. We will still
Yeah.
be able to DM them.
Oh, that's yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I think then you are solving a big problem here, man. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so that's also why we initially call it like a HTML
Okay.
widget verify your
Yeah.
Instagram. It's kind of like
Yeah.
a way for, um, yeah, it's gonna, like one way to look at this, it's the same way when you create an account and they
Yeah.
say, oh, go on your email to validate your email address. It's the
Yeah.
same type of flow. We're
Yeah.
just doing this with Instagram, and by doing that, we open the channel. So anyone that is using this widget will
Mm-hmm.
actually be able to, well, send DMs and send campaigns to all of these people, but also have all of their audience segmented on whether they're user, client, or not. So pretty awesome, pretty neat.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, freaked out, man. I think people will love it, and then they won't worry about changing their IG username and then changing it everywhere else. So because it's dynamic. All right, that's very unique. A question which okay, we have a lover of intro right now saying that he's going to 4x the tiers.
Good. Yeah.
Man, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, we have a lot of fans already. Because we got DMs, we got people telling us on the live streams that we are doing, and you'll do more live streams in with the other community members next week. And they will tell you because there are not many tools out there in this space, right? Which I told you when we met once for the first time. It's very tough to crack the space, right? Because you're dealing with the giant meta, you know,
Yeah.
kind of, and going with them is a very risky move, but you are doing it, which is very commendable. Uh, Yeah, I think some people had a question about will you be expanding your networks beyond Instagram? Because someone mentioned Facebook, LinkedIn, stuff like that. So what do you think?
So we're very much focused on Instagram, and a couple of reasons for that. First of all, we truly believe this is the best platform to build this type of tool
Yep.
because of how how difficult it is to actually have this type of interaction, and because it is difficult, it gives much more value for the
Yep.
brand that can use them. If you take for instance LinkedIn, my LinkedIn, I'm even scared now to open my inbox. Like it's like, ah. So I don't even look at this. Like everyone is DMing you, like it's a nightmare. So like we don't want to integrate this. First of all, because there is plenty of other good
Already
tools that
tools
are
out
already
there. Yeah.
doing this, and we're more interested in like making sure our tool can integrate with a vast variety of other tools. So if you want to run omni-channel campaign, you can already do this, especially with the make integration. You can totally
Hmm.
imagine like, okay, I got my CRM in which I have my email, my LinkedIn contact, and the Inrō ID. So I know I can send them a DM, and I could send a DM and like follow back with a LinkedIn message and an email message. It's just that you're going to use different tools to do that. It doesn't mean we're not going to aggregate everything in like, I don't know, 5 years time or something like that. But right now what we want to do is the best tool for Instagram. So that's the
Hmm.
first reason. The second reason is that there is something very specific about Instagram is the format. Like you, I don't know, you have stories, you have reels, you have comments, you have live comments, and also the way people speak is very
Hmm.
different from one channel to another. You don't speak on LinkedIn the same way. The DM doesn't look the same and everything. So it's really important for us to look native and authentic. And as soon
Hmm.
as you're starting adding over channel, you lose the specificity and like the relatability that you have with something specific. And however, that being said, we're looking into WhatsApp. We're interested in Facebook, but Facebook and Messenger, it's kind of like very crowded space as well.
Yeah.
Um, and we're also looking into TikTok. So
Correct.
we're not closing any door, but like for
Yeah.
instance, LinkedIn or Twitter, I mean
Yeah,
X,
that's a very,
it's
very
not
risky space.
something we're going
X
to go
is,
for anytime soon.
X is X has become very risky right now to build any tool because of Elon's policies. And the thing is, people ask for Facebook, and I think Facebook because you're already the Meta ecosystem. They
Mhm.
mentioned Facebook because if you can do Instagram, then Facebook is something which is accessible to you from the API aspect. But you mentioned it right. Instagram is a niche which is not explored a lot by the other tools. And good thing is when people mention that you also have a great UI UX, which other tools don't have because they don't focus on that. Because having a good experience building a chatbot is very important. You have to build a chatbot, but then you don't have a good experience of a campaign, a scenario, then it's all a mess.
Mm.
So yeah, makes sense. Good. Yeah, that's all the questions. I think yeah, rest we already answered on Facebook groups, and it will keep coming on the websites, on the deal page, everywhere you can imagine. So yeah, thanks for taking out time at the end today to kind of discuss. And I know it's beginning of the evening in France, so I would also let you go. You have to go ahead and have a good croissant after this. um, so yeah, I think and everyone over here who joined in, attended, left, asked a question, and going to see the session after this replay, which will be sent to you. Please go ahead and ask questions. Get intro right now from RocketHub. You already saw the value proposition, and you already saw the amount of stuff you can do. And what Etienne showed you today is just like 5% of what can be done. The possibilities are endless. You can imagine a lot of campaigns, scenarios, and of course, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out even to support from Inrō. They're pretty accessible, and Etienne is pretty accessible on Facebook and Instagram, of course. So yeah, Thanks, Etienne, and thanks everyone for watching in.
My pleasure,
Um,
guys. Do not hesitate. As Karen said, I have my. Uh, it's the CTO himself that is doing the support, even if we have a small team. So don't worry. Like you guys are in good hands. And
yeah.
yeah, looking forward to get your feedback on how to improve the features you want to see. That's also why we're doing a lifetime deal, is to get your feedback, get your knowledge. It helps us grow for future users. And thank you so much to the Rocketeers and the entire community. And thank you to you, Karen.
Yeah, welcome, welcome. Let's get stick after this once we end the stream, and then we'll say you goodbye. All right, so I'll stop the recording. Everyone, take care. We're stopping the stream right now. We'll see you later. All right,
Bye.
bye bye. All right, we're done.